Roots and Rituals. Chapter 1. Shelling Peas and Planting Memory. The garden didn't begin as healing. It began as rebellion. But rebellion was only the first language. It cleared space for healing to take root. Senses tangled in its own limbs. It sprouted weeds with pride. The soil clung to roots it refused to release. The citrus trees were under siege, too stubborn to surrender. It was my niece who first spoke of the words roots and rituals. I paused, then nodded. It felt like a whisper from my grandmother's garden. Roots speaks to ancestry, to farmland, that remembers my heritage as a descendant of the enslaved, to the quiet dignity of survival. Rituals speak to rhythm, not just planting and harvesting, but pruning, healing, resting, repopulating. Many call it prayer. I name it ritual. That's when I knew this wasn't just a yard. It was a covenant. I stood barefoot in the shaded corner, the scent of citrus and neem lingering. My chest tightened, not with grief, but recognition. The apricot tree had shaded every memory, framed every gathering, and stood without praise. It became my altar, my promise, my beginning. I tied this book to the garden because naming the grief directly was too painful. The apricot tree became my metaphor, sick, then healing like my own spirit. I hadn't noticed the curling leaves, the cracked bark. I was too busy surviving. Ignoring bills, letting soil dry, folding grief into foil scraps and freezer bags. But when I began to care for the tree, I began to care for myself. Healing didn't announce itself. It arrived slowly, like warmth returning to my fingertips, like breath softening in my chest, like a root reaching for water. Later, the lemon-lime tree offered stability, its shade reliable, until the ants came. They marched in silence, disrupting everything. But it was the pomegranate tree that taught me rhythm. We picked the last fruit of the season, then the first of the next. That was the ritual, and somewhere in that cycle, I found the courage to begin. I didn't begin with a flourish. I began with memory. Shelling peas was our quiet language. On summer nights, the basket overflowed, firm, speckled, waiting. My parents didn't speak much, but our hands did. The rhythm of peeling, snapping, and saving was how we prepared for Sunday and remembered the seasons. I remember being 6 or 7, sitting beside them, learning the rhythm of survival. It wasn't loud, it was sacred. Hands moving in silence, preparing for Sunday dinner, packing away for winter. I don't remember their faces, I remember the basket. I remember how long it took to finish. Survival was quiet. It was freezing fruits and vegetables, stretching meals, reusing foil, and saving scraps. My parents never called it resilience, they called it life. My mother found beauty in order, folding foil like origami, stacking jars by season, labeling lids with fading tape. My father found it in the satisfaction of another season's completion. I learned that beauty wasn't decoration, it was devotion. Now the shaded corner near the apricot tree feels most like my childhood home. It's quiet there, soft, like the evenings when we shelled peas. That space feels like memory. It's where things grow slowly, where the soil holds stories. The apricot tree, with its sickness and healing, reminds me of the way grief lived in our house. Not loud, but present. That corner feels like my mother's hush and my father's steadiness. It's not just a garden, it's where memory lives. The garden became my mirror. When I began to care for the apricot tree, I began to care for myself. Healing didn't arrive with fanfare. It came slowly, transforming rebellion into rhythm, like a leaf uncurling, like a root finding water, like warmth returning to my fingertips, like breath softening in my chest. My body loosened its grip on grief. Progress looked like stillness. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is wait and keep showing up. My granddaughter Victoria reminds me why I keep going. She swings from trees, paints joy into the soil, and crafts in the middle of my healing. She is the future reader, the one who will inherit not just my stories, but my soil. You can never go hungry if you learn to live off the land. I remember the first time she asked to help me in the garden. I handed her an old pink pail, once her Easter basket, and told her to grab her rainbow Crocs. She didn't ask what to do, she just started digging. The soil crumbled in her hands, warm from the afternoon sun. That's when I knew she wasn't just playing, she was remembering forward, she was planting memories. If this chapter had a keepsake, it would be the apricot tree, rooted in memory, crowned in resilience. Beneath it, the fountain flows like a quiet prayer. Above it, a hummingbird hovers. The garden is not just emotional, it's educational. It teaches that survival isn't the same as thriving, that healing requires care, pruning, and ritual. That legacy must be shared. My great-grandmother is buried in my grandmother's garden. People forget that backyards were the original cemeteries. That memory belongs in the soil of this book. The garden is for the living, but it remembers the dead. It holds both. This book is that tree. This chapter is in its bloom. And this covenant, this vow to heal, to remember, to grow, is not just mine. It belongs to every woman who ever turned her grief into a garden and called it home. As this chapter comes to a close, I'm reminded that every recipe is more than instructions. It's a story. Each step carries memory, each flavor carries meaning. These cookies are not just baked, they're lived. And in sharing them, I'm sharing the rhythm of my family, the rituals that keep us connected. This is where baking becomes more than food, it becomes legacy. Legacy is not something we store away, it's something we live moment by moment. Each recipe, each garden ritual, each shared cookie is a thread in the fabric of our story. When I bake, I'm not only measuring flour and sugar, I'm measuring memory. I'm honoring the hands that came before me and teaching the hands that will come after. Photo of Robin appears around 8:19. Watching Robin enjoy her cookie reminds me that legacy is alive right now. It's in her smile, in her joy, in the way comfort is passed forward without words. Thank you for sharing this chapter with me. May your own rituals bring you peace, and may the small joys you carry today become the legacy you pass on tomorrow.